In part 2 of this tea time chat today, we discuss the particle accelerator and other technologies and their effects on our spiritual development, your soul's purpose and destined blueprint, intuition, intention and asking, service to others and service to self, and walking the talk. Right, so I have another question that somebody sent to me. Is psychic awakening or development dampened or hindered in any way by nearby particle accelerator facilities like the ones they have at CERN in Switzerland? Now, I've also had questions from other people that have asked a similar thing about mobile phone masts and chemtrails. I do have a video on YouTube that does touch on this somewhat. It's called Bypassing Copycat Mind Waves, if you would like to watch that. But I'd like your opinion. Is psychic awakening or development hindered by the CERN particle accelerator or mobile phone masts or chemtrails or other technology?
What's this particle?
Oh, okay.
I don't even know what it is.
There's, well, there you go, you're asking me something now. There is, did you all know about the CERN particle?
Yes, I know about the CERN,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's like a great big piece of technology that's been built in Switzerland, aimed at, I believe, discovering the God particle. So it's smashing particles into one another, creating potentially wormholes and.
Really?
Yeah, is it NASA?
It's like that programme that was on recently.
Well,
What's
it's
it called?
that whole scientific
Yeah.
network,
Yeah.
and it's using an incredible amount of energy in order to do that as well.
When it was first turned on, I had a huge rush, because what I was getting is, it's not the actual particle accelerator that affects the spirituality, it's the particles inside, because we're all in the same place. So if something's happening with an atom or a particle, and here I am going into stuff I don't know, we can all feel it because we are actually all in the same place. All of us five are not in separate bodies. On the truest reality, we're all sitting as one. So we can. That's how come we have telepathy and healing. So yes, we can do that with this accelerator. So when it was switched on, I felt it. I felt this shift and I felt this change, and I did actually make a video, and that's also on my YouTube channel. But yeah, your opinions. I mean, do you feel that something that is using physics to smash particles together to find the God particle, to further science, and things like chemtrails and things like mobile phone masts and other technologies, microwaves, whatever, can this affect your spiritual development?
Well, I don't know anything about this CERN thing, I've got to be honest, but then I wouldn't, would I? But what I would say about that, I want to laugh.
Okay.
Because I'm at this moment in time, the energy around, the energy of everything that is. And as I look at that, I want to smile, because nothing can affect us in any way, in any negative form, by what somebody is doing. Okay, yes, that does resonate out and have an effect, you know, I'm seeing like a particle wave, you know, in some way. But actually, all I keep getting is this voice that says, do you think that you're not greater than that?
Yes,
I agree.
So,
Yeah.
and also I feel that it's okay to explore, and it's okay to, it's like saying, you know, one of us is doing a life running around doing this and somebody else is doing that, and you know, somebody's using a mobile phone and Wi-Fi. And a lot of people, I've heard this a lot, you know, you mustn't have broadband in your house. I heard that when wireless and all this stuff a little while ago. And whilst I agree that there's energy moving around, it's our attention to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it's our attention to it, because this one particular person that I knew that was talking about it, and they just ripped it out of their house, they'd had it in and they felt it was affecting them. So I think, yes, we can tune into it, yes, we can be affected by it. But I always come back to such simple things for me. It's like, do you want to choose that it affects you, or does it not?
Yes.
And so therefore my answer to something that this CERN thing, which I don't know a lot about, but what I would say with that, with airwaves, microwaves and things, if you feel on some level that it is affecting you, then, you know, for example, remove the microwave. Or if it's something that's out of our control, which is this big thing that they're messing about with the particles or whatever they're doing, remember that you're more than that, and that there isn't anything that can affect you or hurt you unless you choose it to.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my response
It's
to it.
interesting, isn't it? It's a very interesting
Mm.
question. I think it's just relative to each person, isn't it, individual? I'm just sitting and thinking, well, yeah, nothing
No.
of that affects me. But I do
It's
know that
likewise.
these radio masks do affect people, and I'm thinking,
Yes, they do.
yeah, I
they're
don't want to.
focusing
on it.
Yeah,
If
I
they're
don't want to put my
focusing on it.
attention to that. It's
Although
what you put your
actually
attention
even because I've actually done quite a bit of research into this.
Okay,
Although I
great.
can't quote the research specifically or the technology. It's my understanding that even though people aren't aware of it, all of this technology is being manipulated and misused to a certain degree by those who seek to control through fear and also try to impose illness upon people. So it feeds into all those
Yes,
systems,
Yeah.
big pharma and everything. And there is and the military, and there is research showing that I know there's one in particular about microwave towers for the mobile phones. There was a study, I know there was one in California, I think it was in San Francisco, where they just looked at the population within this certain area in relation to the microwave tower, and there was a much higher rate of cancer. And this was, people not being consciously aware of it. This was just, a blind study.
Yeah.
And there are quite a few studies like that show this. But having said that, I think although it's important to be aware of it,
Yeah.
because everything is energy, knowledge is empowering, but don't give it any energy. And therefore you can step out of
That's
it and
right.
you won't be affected
Yeah.
by it. Although, however, and that of course depends upon your state of consciousness, which is why it's so important
Yeah,
to
to
raise
raise,
your
that's
consciousness.
right. The nine
And,
has said
and then
that
we
to me.
have to, somehow work with those who are in fear and
Yes.
choosing not to, or they're frowning upon expanding your consciousness, and that's why we're here, is to,
Yeah. Yeah.
to
The
help
nine showed
that.
me this is where it is, this is the vibration where all this is.
yeah.
And yes,
Exactly.
you're in it, it's there, but you can go above that, and
Yeah.
in this vibration it's not touched. So it's raising the body
Exactly.
and this is why we're doing it. We're doing it to raise the consciousness of the planet, but it is also our safe zone. And a lot of channels over the recent years have said when this big wave or big flood or when this disaster hits, or however they interpret it, one of the things they will say is get to high ground. Now I always got
Which could be
raise the
metaphor,
vibration,
Yes.
although
Yeah.
after last night's
That's better than
talk I wonder if the high ground is the node, and that relates to your beads, which we can discuss in a minute. The node is the high ground because of the vibrational point within the planet, so that's the Stargate. So I would say yes, the particle accelerator and the mobile phone masts and all the other things could well hinder our development and affect us physically. But one, you become aware of it without fear. That's the first key. Then you find a way to get to high ground. Now, if that means moving nearer a ley line, or spending time in a building on a ley line, or sitting in a pyramid, or what having healing, having
Or
EFT
sound
tapping,
healing,
the
which-
sound, whatever it takes for you to
Nature.
raise your vibration.
Exactly.
Nature, massive one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Your
amazing.
artwork, you can take it in. We have the senses, we have the sight, the sound, touch. It's all there for us.
all the elements.
Grounding's very important, isn't it?
So
as well?
we can actually, and what the nine say is there is an antidote. There is an antidote to all this.
And it's about being in it but not of it.
That's right.
and,
That's right.
and being that,
Yeah.
stepping outside and being that
Yeah.
witness.
But must say again, great question.
Yeah, very good,
really
very good question.
And if people want to send questions in or write
Brilliant,
them down,
yes.
we'll talk about them.
We'll talk
Yeah,
about them, could
really
stretch us
great.
even further.
Yeah,
This is
send
a
them in.
greater
Send them in. I
consciousness,
love
yeah.
questions.
Were those the only two questions?
They're
that
the
you
only
had?
two I
Yes,
found for now.
But the book
Yeah.
is
But I
quite
have,
thick.
yeah,
The rest of the questions just because.
yes, there's all these blank pages
Okay.
to be written new questions. So
Yeah.
send your questions in, absolutely. That's it. I've opened the floodgates on the
You have
questions
now, haven't you? Just watch this space.
Yeah.
You'll be needing a mini you sitting there.
Oh, hang on. Wait a second. There was another one actually saying that. Yes, there was. It's. I need to find out more information about this process. Now, this was in response to the workshop. So I presume raising vibration, ascension, key swapping, downloads. I want to learn how to do this. Where do I start?
Right.
Good question.
Good question.
Yeah, because you were saying earlier, weren't you, that I think you've done a bit of research, didn't you? And there wasn't much out there.
There isn't, not
that?
really,
That's
no.
interesting. Well, this could be a whole new page, couldn't it?
About the key swapping.
Yeah.
Somebody, I didn't do the research myself. Somebody wrote to me and
Oh.
said,
Right.
I've had this key swapping for a while, well, for many years. I've known about it and I've not seen it anywhere. So they were relieved that others are feeling this. I mean, so where do they start in this process? And I think we were discussing this the other day. You don't necessarily have to know where you're going or have some kind of format. It isn't about, right, these are the coordinates, this is the way to raise the Merkaba, this is the way to raise the light body. Yes, you can do that. But when you get into this energy of the heart, divinity and love, and you ask as you don't know whether you're with guides or not, but you ask for assistance. That's the same thing, you bring them in. You don't even have to recognise them, it's just there. You will naturally raise, you will naturally do these things. You know, you will be taught protection, the safe zones, you will be taught the Merkaba and the activations.
You've got to ask though, haven't you?
You do, yes, because
That's
of
the
the
thing that
free
people
will.
don't ask.
You need to ask.
You have
It's
to ask.
intentions, isn't it? Intention of asking, and that will bring it. That's what you're saying. You know, that will raise your vibration. That will give you the answers. And so it's not necessarily that anything is plotted, is it? It's not set. Nothing's set in stone. It's part of the 2012 where we
Yeah.
are now. So the codes are within the people. We are the codes. We are the keys. So it's really, we're activating ourselves. It's not necessarily about looking outside of ourselves. As you say, we can all go to people and get help, you know, and have Reiki and you know, shamanism, whatever it is. You know, we can seek where we feel we need to go to, but it really is within us, isn't it? So it's not necessarily about you have to come to the workshop that we've done or find the right book, although there will be, obviously this is unfolding, there will be books, there's a lot more information that is going to be out there. But to start with the intention of finding it, asking within yourself, you know, how can I find this? And then listen, and it may come in dream, you may feel that you're not getting it, but you just get a sense of that, being drawn to the right person. This is what we were talking about before, wasn't it? That intuition where you feel drawn to do the right thing, ask whatever, you know, a guide or just that intention.
And I feel to say, when the student is ready, the master will come. And if you're ready for something, that master, it may be your neighbour, your dog, a book, a person, a workshop, a TV programme. It will be there, and you'll be amazed, and you'll be like, "Oh my goodness! I only asked that question this morning, and it's right in front of me."
Happening really
Wow!
quickly now. Isn't
Yes,
it?
yeah.
When you're asking,
The synchronicity.
Definitely.
And the steps that are taken are just small baby steps, really. You know, they don't have to be anything major. And just keep on, you know, with the energies. And the energies are hugely changing, aren't they? And we've got this new energy that's come in that we can talk about sometime, which is going to raise the vibration of many. So,
I feel April is very significant
April,
for
yeah.
the change that is coming, that people who haven't got it yet, who are asking this
Yeah,
question,
they will.
it's coming in, it's very much, it's already present with us, but we're going to kind of catch up with it. So it will be suddenly just, I just get a feeling, and it is just getting stronger, as you say, it's accelerating. April, I feel, is going to bring a time when, if we're not asking, we're going to be. Okay, so it's about, to me, I feel April's a shake-up. About mid-April, 12th onwards, there's an energy shake-up. It's, when I say shake-up, I think I was describing it earlier on. There's a kind of like a rug, and it goes like that, and as it's pulled, if you're not ready, if you're not, as in wanting to, if you're still hiding, as in you're just living, you know, watching the news, moaning about, you know, the stuff that's not happening in your world, then when that carpet in April, as I see it, comes, you're going to hit the ground, bang. So, you know, my advice to people is start asking, just
Yeah.
ask, that's all you have to do,
Yeah.
keep it simple,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
ask. And then when the carpet pulls, and remember it's the kind of like that, as I see it, like a kind of wave. When you're on this, because you're asking, you're already in the state of conscious allowing, and then when it's pulled, you're going to fly up, and that's when you're going to get those answers and become aware of the teacher, as you say, the teacher, when the teacher
Yeah.
arrives, the book, they suddenly find next month there's a few new books that are going to actually give people some more concrete stuff. So from a concrete point of view, it's just in the asking and in the allowing and in the trusting that you're going to find that answer in the right way, because that's how we're working right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas it used to be very
Yes.
specific, didn't it?
Yeah.
I have to sit down and meditate and and all this, and still, if that's what you feel drawn to do it.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
it's definitely more. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I just know it is kind of
Yeah.
feeling going on. Isn't
And
it?
that's the whole thing too, is being open to it, and things do not necessarily, most often do not come in the way you expect them to.
Yeah.
And it's just that noticing and looking for those messages that are always there, particularly in nature. And noticing and and as soon as you notice and acknowledge, that opens the doorway to more things to come in. And also about not doing, there's no right way
No.
or wrong way of doing things.
That's right.
Everyone is different, and that's part of the system that we were
Yeah.
pulling out of, is getting out of the boxes
Yeah.
and just being open to creation of
Yeah.
new ways of being, and just allowing things to come in whatever form,
Absolutely.
and outside of any existing systems. And that includes all the healing modalities.
Everything. Yeah.
Because everyone is, going to the same place, but we're all coming at it from different angles, and
Yeah. Be discerning.
and about seeing the sacred in the mundane. Like, it may not appear as something. It's not all, a light. It's not always a light work show.
No.
Fireworks. It can be the simplest
Yeah.
thing that'll be hugely significant
A butterfly.
in your own journey.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
to
the
remove
gentle
the
wings
fear.
of a butterfly.
Remove the fear in everything,
Yeah.
really, and that allows the love in.
Yeah. And change is the only constant in life.
Be
And
discerning
so
what
much
you
people
follow
have
as
fear
well.
about change,
Yes, they do.
and it's liberating
It is.
when you go beyond
The
it.
discernment is also, you said about not following any one way, and if anyone you are following or listening to is saying, this is the way to do it, and my way is the way forward, and I've got some new technique, and this is the one that you have to follow, A, B, C and D, join this website, read this book, pay this fee, be very wary,
Yes.
because somebody
Yeah.
who's teaching from the higher light and the heart will actually say to you, don't take my word for it, don't listen to what I say, take it on board, but the most important guru or wise person or most important aspect to follow is yourself.
Yes, you don't need the
You know,
gurus
gut
anymore.
no.
But it's
They've done their
No.
job.
It's the end of the
Yeah,
road.
they've done them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do get a bit,
Well
not
done.
frustrated, I try not to be a bit, sometimes I'll release a channeled video which says all this,
Yes.
and somebody will write, you don't need to watch videos like this, when will you people wake up? The power
Yes.
is within. And I'm like, but that was just said in the video. Of course it is. That's the Nine's teaching.
Yes.
It isn't like listen to the Nine,
No.
sign your name here, send in a donation. It's not about that. Never has been. I mean, we can talk about why do spiritual people charge money for their services. That's another conversation to have. But that is never, and I know it's the case with all five of us and so many others, it is never ever the number one goal. It's a byproduct because we're living in a third density reality. So understand that the people who are here sharing their time and sitting in front of cameras and writing books, they're not doing it for fame, they're not doing it for personal gain, they're not doing it for money, they're doing it because they've been trained to do it their whole lives, their hearts have opened and they feel time to be in service. How do I reach others? How do I move into service? Through art, through soul midwifery, and through channeling, hypnotherapy, EFT, energy work, and wherever it is that you're led.
Yes.
Each one of us, everyone has a destiny. There's no one person out there on this planet that doesn't have a blueprint. That includes the animals, the birds, the fish,
Absolutely.
the rocks. They've all got destinies.
And we all have soul contracts with each other
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely, absolutely.
It's to find ourselves, isn't it? Isn't it ultimately what it's about? Is to truly evolve ourselves, because that comes back to that one, doesn't it? We're all one. So, you know, one of the things I'm noticing now so much, you know, consciously, is you know, the more I see someone helping, you know, what you just were saying there, Magenta, sort of, it's all about being of service. And when you really get that, when someone really gets that and stops, you know, because there's that split, isn't there? But hold on a minute, you're saying focus on yourself, which is what we're saying, but then focusing on yourself, you're focusing on the whole.
Yes.
Okay, and that is, how would you describe that? How would you
Isn't it?
Yeah, so how is that for you, Jean? Is it, if you're, you know, if you're doing your art, which is about for you, isn't it? It's about you getting into that alignment with you, and then, you know, you're being of service to others because you want them to
pick up on the energy,
yes,
I guess.
yeah,
The individual path mirroring the global path.
Yes.
yeah.
So as you work with
Want to
yourself, you automatically do. A lot of people say to me, service to others then, Magenta. So if I'm in service to others, what about me? You know, I'm going to get drained because I'm constantly serving others, and I'm like, that's a misunderstanding of the
Yes.
concept, because
Because you're
service
serving
to others
yourself.
is self and other.
Yes.
Service to self is just self. There's no other in service to self. Service to self isn't interested in other, only in self. So therefore, self has to be the best and has to control other. That's service to self. Service to others is all and one. So everyone that we see is at one with us. Therefore, we serve self and other as one. Service to self is, I'm the only one. You don't exist. It's
And
completely
that's
different.
often tied to monetary gain as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
Because
that's
that's
a
the
big
power.
distinction as well, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just by giving of yourself from your heart,
Yeah, from your heart.
through compassion,
Yes.
action, creativity, however it comes through, you may be giving, but you are receiving,
Yeah.
you know, tenfold
Absolutely.
in
It's
return. It's
being passionate.
beautiful.
Being passionate with that as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And then it doesn't
It's
feel
about
doesn't
that
feel like
soul
work
passion.
anymore, does it? When you're actually being passionate about whatever you're giving and
Absolutely.
receiving, it's the vibrational gift. Because I was thinking when you were talking about that you're as you're painting and you've gone into that state, not only is the painting getting the vibration, but the vibration is being picked up and ripples around by everybody. It's clever, isn't it?
Yeah. Another big question I get asked a lot, actually, which I think would be nice to address, is well, it's all very well with you lot sitting around talking about love and light and meditating, but when are you going to walk the talk? So, girls, are we doing anything to help the planet right now, or are we just wasting time sitting around chatting and having tea? Let's look at that. Are we walking the talk?
Who wants to answer that one first? No one?
Well, can I just say, with my walking, my talk has been bringing in healing energy, and a few years ago I brought in the lighter vibration energy, which is actually now being put around the universe as we speak. It's been sitting there a while waiting, but now we've connected with this Ascension light. It's partially working with that, and the lighter vibration energy is about transmuting energies from, if I describe what that is, shall I, the lighter vibration energy. If you can imagine a piece of electrical wire, and it's encased in the white casing, and inside, instead of having the green, red and brown or whatever it is, you have all of these strands of colour which are connected to each one of the chakra points. So you've got the rainbow colours, and the white is the pearly white essence of God. So as this connects with you, it goes to every single cell of your being on the internal and external, and the lighter vibration energy pearlescence is your connection to God or the divine, or however you'd like to put that. And we all have that divinity within us, but it strengthens that connection. So it's very opportune that it's actually being brought out there a little bit now. I've been talking about it on a few interviews. That I always wondered, well, I've got this, what am I going to do with it? And I have actually attuned a few people and done healing with it. Since the interview, I've been sending that out along the airwaves to America and places, so that's been very interesting. But in the last week, I'm losing track of time really with things happening so quickly. We have this unusual light that's just been brought in that Daniel Nessel McLean and Megan have brought in, or you know they've attached to this energy. Well, I use that word loosely.
Viewed it.
They've
or,
viewed
or
this.
seen
They've
it.
viewed this energy, and I've also viewed the energy as well. And it is remarkable. I saw it as Megan was describing it with all the different colour. She couldn't describe the colour. It was just beyond our imagination.
Yes. Yeah.
She's made an attempt at it, and the energy is pure love, basically. And I see it just being it's like a chakra point, but it's away from the body. And anybody can attach themselves to that energy now. In fact, it's around us now. And by attaching to that energy, it absorbs into you and creates the purest love and also creativity. So it'd be interesting to see if you attach yourself to that, to see how your creativity with the painting actually maybe absorbs with that. I've since seen it. There are 7 other pockets of light coming in, but we need to absorb this one first. And it's taking a little while to settle, but people are picking it up.
So it's just
good
there.
feedback.
So
It's just there.
you just focus on an area in front of you.
Just imagine, if you play with your imagination with this, whatever you do, it will be the right thing because you actually have the intention of going into this energy. And so if you just imagine there's a ball of beautiful colour, however you're going to see that, and then let it absorb into your heart and then into your whole of your being. So as I'm seeing my lighter vibration energy prior to that, if we can get this absorbed into the body as well and transmute the negativity, then we can actually bring bring the two together. But this is leading on then to the new children that are coming in. So the new beings of light. So we're preparing ourselves ready for them.
I think what you're saying here, this is you walking the talk.
Yes.
What you're saying here can be explained by quantum physics. What we do here in this space is affecting the rest of the planet. So it is okay to sit around and talk, but it's not about just talking and letting the energy go nowhere. It's about focusing the energy with intent and the telepathy and everything that you're saying with the light of vibration energy and this new Emusian light. I saw it actually as the rainbow light codes, and it seems to be a parallel. It was a new colour that we can't see. And this is coming to thousands, if not millions of people. So when we sit around meditating and talking about love and light, when there's intent there, this affects the rest of the planet everywhere and raises the vibration of the planet. And it can be explained by the 100th monkey effect, if it's put out as an idea or a thought, or the domino effect. As you affect one, the domino falls and so does the next. So when people say, oh, you're sitting around talking about love and light, if you are just chatting and it's just meaningless conversation, and I mean, let's face it, who really does have meaningless conversation apart from the people we see on our media screens? No, I'm joking. Well, no, I'm not. But what I mean is, every thought affects the whole, everything you do affects the whole. So when you see these people having workshops and holding hands and sending love and doing meditation, they are affecting hugely. And it's been proven now that when people meditate on a certain area, then crime goes down in that area, or wars are prevented, or I mean, we're changing timelines. So are we walking the talk? Well, I am. I think you are. And
There's a
so are
meditation in
millions.
London on Saturday that I'm going to in Trafalgar
Yes.
Square.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to that.
What's the
It's a flash mob, isn't it? Flash mob
With
meditation.
I can never pronounce his name.
The I can't remember. It's
I
a
love him.
Tibetan monk, isn't
Yes,
it?
the
I should know the name.
I know.
It's going to be pretty amazing.
Is that
So
for
what's the
vibrational
intention?
raising?
We're just all going to meditate. It's going to
Well,
be
that's
like
wonderful.
about
It's a
2,000
mass,
people.
yeah.
Yes.
Mass
So,
So
meditation
yeah,
would
it'd be sending all that energy
Yeah.
out.
so
Yeah.
that's a walking
Yeah.
your talk, isn't it? Actually
Yes, of
collecting
course
with
it
all
is.
of those people, creating that energy.
We're going up there
And
with
adding to
Ben
that.
as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot more of this happening now, isn't there? Have you noticed there's more groups?
Yes.
And it's not just because
Really
we're in
powerful.
the, anyone listening thinks, well, we're into all these groups. It's not specifically.
Mm.
I mean, obviously we've got the social media sites that we all know about
Mm.
that are helping us to connect with each other. I mean, I've heard a lot of things about these sites, but to me, I think they're absolutely amazing
Yeah,
because
me too.
connecting with you, Azra, through these
Yeah.
sites and all the other people that we're meeting, we wouldn't be
Mhm.
able to. So that's what we're doing. So it's on a practical level. It's
Yeah.
just on an everyday
And there's a
Yes.
negative and a
level.
positive with everything. Take any
Yes.
social media network, there's a negative to that. There's a
Yeah.
sinister aspect to that. Of course there is. We know
Mm.
that. There's also a positive, and it's where do you go?
Where's your focus?
And,
Yes.
and you have
Where
to
you
see them
focus.
both.
It's about
Otherwise, you are not.
choosing.
You're ignoring, and if you ignore, then you are a new age fluffy bunny, aren't you? If you're ignoring, we don't do that. We don't ignore. We look, and then we choose
Consciously
and
choosing.
consciously think. Right, that's there. I know it's there. So how do I create this? Or how do I get into the love, the positivity, the connections, and work with that negativity? And however, when you're in that faith, you don't even necessarily have to work it out. It will come to you. You'll be in it. You'll flow into it. It's about trust. And when you're not really understanding that, it is hard to explain to someone about the trust and the flow. It is a feeling. It isn't even something that can be given words very easily. It is a feeling. It is an energy. And it's profound when you feel it. It really
Yes.
is.
And I think too, yes, we're just sitting here chatting and discussing things, but I know in my own experience, because of my eye condition, I haven't been able to read a lot. When I listen to interviews and things, we're all teachers and healers for each other, although we may not, label ourselves that. And it's going beyond the labels and the language. There's energy between us together that's also going out there. And we're also there's something in it for everyone. Somebody may say something or a gesture or something, a smile, and it'll connect with someone somewhere and trigger something within them, whether it's a memory or a spontaneous healing or leading them to something else, which will take them along their own soul's journey to where, their destiny.
Yeah, beautiful, Azra. Beautiful. With you as an artist, Jean, do you network with like-minded people?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So you're not really mixing with people who are of a different viewpoint, particularly? Are the people you mix with like you in many ways?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so.
Yeah.
Yeah, on an energy level, on
Yeah.
Facebook as well. I've made
Yeah.
a lot of friends on Facebook.
It's
Artist
kind
friends
of
as well.
happening like that, isn't it? It's like there's these worlds, and you know about the other people, and you know about all the fear and the anger and the hostility and all that, and you know it's here on this planet, this physical planet, but you just don't tend to meet it.
No,
You
it's where you
just-
put your focus.
Yeah, you just don't. You don't
It's a choice.
come close. And again with physics, I
Yes.
don't know. Are there certain particles that don't meet? Maybe that's what it is when you're in a certain vibration. All the particles within your body are vibrating at a certain tone or speed or level of light, so they attract all the like attracts like, just like in
Yes.
physics, and you bypass that. I mean, for example, what's going on here in the UK, good subject to bring up, we have a big petrol panic going on right now at petrol pumps.
Yes.
Yeah,
Now,
petrol panic.
I knew nothing about this.
Oh,
I
right.
wasn't told
No.
psychically,
Yes.
and obviously it
I
came
didn't
to my
panic.
attention eventually. By this time, everyone was panicking and grabbing the petrol pump, and I instantly thought, I can't even see any truth
No,
here. It's
there
like
isn't.
this big strike. I couldn't see that there
It's
was
like,
even a
so
strike.
what?
So, but what I'd like to say this does
Well, it's
happen in other
contrived.
countries. What does somebody do when they hear on the news someone saying there might be a strike, so it's
Yes.
advisable to fill up your tank with petrol?
Listen
What
to
do they
themselves.
do?
Listen to themselves rather than go and listening to the
Yes.
media.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're so many people act like sheep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't it, he was saying earlier on, somebody was saying to me, because I'm a bit like you, Magenta, I wasn't really, I wasn't aware of it at all, and then when I did, I thought, okay, and somebody was saying that they were driving around finding a petrol station. They had petrol, but because they was driving around trying to find one that they could get into, they used all their petrol up and they were running out.
Yes.
I don't know who that was.
This happened before the
What
last one.
would have happened
Yes.
if everybody
Everybody
basically
did that.
had just, if everybody had just thought, okay, I can hear that,
Relaxed.
but I'm going to relax on it.
Yes.
I'm not going to jump in my car and drive to the petrol station and
Yes.
queue there and run out of petrol or
Mm.
drive, you know. And
Yes.
I happened to, we'd obviously gone out to a meeting last night, and on the way back it was, I don't know what time it was, 10:30 or whatever it was, and we couldn't even get round the roundabout because people were queued so far blocking it
Yes.
that they were oblivious to anyone else.
Yes.
They were in this zone.
Absolutely.
And you know,
Fear
what we're
zone.
saying is,
Exactly.
you know, we've got a choice, haven't we?
Yes.
Always got a choice. We could just relax, stay at home,
Yes.
enjoy that evening, but to get in your car,
Yes.
because there's this mass hysteria. So if it runs out, what I always say about anything is, what's the worst
Yeah,
thing that could
can
happen?
happen.
if it
Yeah,
runs out?
exactly.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if the
Yes.
lights suddenly, you know, the electricity decided to crash right now, what's the worst thing that could happen? Okay, we'd be in the dark,
Candles.
right, we've
Get
got our
candles
cars,
out.
Candles
if you haven't got
And you can get in
candles,
touch with yourself.
yeah, you can get,
Again.
exactly, you could just sit down and
Nice
enjoy
and
the
quiet.
evening, maybe go to bed earlier, whatever.
Get in touch with the community. If things
Yeah.
really
And
do get,
sharing and
there's
And-
ways to get through anything.
Absolutely.
Always.
So,
And-
Yeah, it was
we've
interesting.
always got a choice,
There
really,
is
at the
a
end of the day,
choice.
haven't we? We've got a choice.
Yeah.
And what I think we're all saying, what about walking your talk, is what is your choice? And in that moment, if it feels right, because you want to, if you want to go and join that queue and get all stressed and have people honking at you on roundabouts because you're blocking them,
Yeah.
you know,
Get
that's
into
one
that.
choice, or there's the other way.
But they're in
Yeah.
fear because I did actually have a dip into the news because I just thought, well, what are they spinning now? And actually, I think there's two things going on here. One of them is putting the fear into people. They've actually said to us,
Is there a hidden agenda?
yes, fill up your petrol.
Yeah.
Make sure that it isn't half full. Just keep it topped up.
Yeah.
And what's it going to do? Give a little boost to the economy.
Mm.
So there may be a real dip this week,
Mm.
and suddenly there isn't a dip anymore in the economy. We've actually all gone out there
And then spent money
and
on
spent
petrol.
money on petrol and more money on petrol.
And of course, those figures are going to look good, aren't
Yeah,
they?
that's
aren't
what I
they?
was
Aren't those
thinking.
statistics going to look
Yes.
amazing over
Yes.
this next?
Until
Yeah.
when it's all sorted out, because they're going to give 7 days' notice, whoever's going to do this. And
will they even do it? Will there even be a strike?
No, because it's back to the fear. Get them all going and get them all going again. So what
And
happens
let's
next
see
week
how
when
they
it's
all
all
react.
gone?
Are they
with-
still
Yeah.
sheep?
But we won't be buying the petrol then,
Exactly.
and we'll be consciously thinking, actually, maybe we don't need to use the car as much as I actually enjoy walking.
Yeah.
Maybe
Or
that's going to
cycling.
happen. So it could have an adverse effect.
Yeah.
on
Oh, this
the
is
fear.
what happens. That's
Yeah.
the adverse
What's the
effect. The 9 have
contrast?
told me about this polarity switch,
Yes.
and it's like the energy will allow a certain level of darker agenda.
Yes.
But because of this quantum leap and this sort of critical mass point of people like us, it just can't sustain. So it's
Yes.
flipping back
Yes.
into, our agenda is to get them all to spend money at the petrol pumps and blah, blah, blah. But it will switch into people walk more, people cycle more, they're going to grow their own vegetables, they're going to become more eco-friendly. And they're like, oh no, we didn't want that. This is what's happening with everything.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
Losing control.
backfiring on the
Yes.
dark.
Yes.
It's a
Yeah.
big
Losing
boomerang.
I think
Yeah.
that is so amazing
Yeah.
because basically everything, a lot of people say to me, oh, I feel these emotions, this bad stuff happening, and I say good, because not good that the bad stuff's happening and that you're
Yeah.
affected by it, because I say we've got a
Thinking
choice,
through
we
it.
can.
Yeah.
But actually that's amazing, because on the flip side of that, what is the positive that can come from this?
Yes.
And as you rightly said, and it was the first thing I said yesterday when it was highlighted to me, there was all these people queuing up and whatever. First thing I said is, oh brilliant, what an opportunity to go out walking
Yeah.
more. I've been wanting to do a bit more of that.
Beautiful weather.
And if the worst comes to the worst, I cycle. And even if the worst comes to the worst, I can't get to work, then maybe that's a really good thing as well, because I've been asking for more time to myself.
Yeah.
So we're constantly shifting into,
Mm.
you know, what is the really positive in this, and if people can get that, that's part of what we're saying about the keys, the codes. This is all linked. It's all
Yes,
synchronistically part of what we're saying, isn't it?
And
So-
you're out of that control prison planet. The prison planet's your own fear. So, you know, petrol gone, oh no, can't go to work, can't earn the
Yeah.
money, can't buy the food, scarcity,
Yes.
fear, gotta have petrol. And I actually went to the petrol pumps because I thought, well, I'll stop off there, and, you know,
Yeah.
if I can get
If you
petrol,
can
I
get
can. If I
petrol,
can't,
yes.
I can't. I'm not going to
Yeah,
buy
really.
into this. But I was interestingly watching the others.
Yes.
And the level of stress, this man was just from head to toe in fear and stretching the petrol, the thing that comes, the nozzle, into, because his petrol, the hole, what's it
Yeah,
called?
it was on the other
thing.
side, the nozzle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's had to,
Oh,
he
good
had to
heavens.
stretch it right over the car. And then he pulled out these two great big cans.
Jerry cans.
You're not
And
supposed
filled
to
it
do that
up
though,
as
are you?
well, and
Yeah,
shoved it in the
very
back.
cool.
But there's stress in him and
do
all the
that.
fear, and I thought, it's right here happening.
Yeah.
Everything we've been told about for
Yes,
20
all
years
that
or
time
more.
It's going on.
You know, so this is 2012. You know,
Yes.
we've got this 3D stuff going on
Yeah.
that we're going to have to be, we're going to see around us.
Yes.
But are we really
Yeah.
in that dimension?
No.
Even when we're queued up next to them, are we in the same dimension as the person in the car in front?
Don't
Are
think
we?
so. Not
And
in the
it's
feeling.
all
anyway.
serving
In
such,
and out,
such a
yes.
huge purpose.
Yes.
The polarity, the darkness, that separation, and it's also, you know, without electricity or petrol, you're getting back in touch with nature, and all the systems have divorced us from that symbiotic relationship with nature that is so important, and that we have to return to in terms of being consciously living, whether recycling, reusing, all of those things, and it's so important. And even like the mass events in terms of the tsunami and everything, it serves. I mean, there's so much pain and sorrow there, but the gift in it is that it has opened so many people's hearts, and you know, that compassion that
And
is
there's always a
bringing
gift.
bringing people. Yeah, it's
There's
about
always a
seeing
gift.
the gift in the darkness.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
always.
Absolutely.
Are you finding in your work, Magenta, I've totally forgotten what I'm going to say.
You're in that seat. It does that to me.
It's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. It was something you were talking about, and it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah, I
Okay.
have that as well. So, okay, we'll cut that little bit.
I don't know what I was going to say. It was a really good one.
That happens all the time now. Does it to you?
It does
Yeah,
happen
I forget
again.
that
Yeah,
for
yeah,
others,
yes.
it does
Yeah.
happen a bit. I mean, if you're in front of a live audience, then you need to sort of bring it back.
Bring it
But
back,
with the
yes.
camera, it's
Yeah.
fine. You edit it
Or
out.
jump onto something very
Yeah.
quickly. But yeah.
But yes, absolutely, Azra. I mean, no, I've lost it.
Is that
Yeah,
to
I mean,
end it there?
maybe that has come to a
Yes.
natural end.
I was getting that. Cut it now. It's almost like
Yeah.
they've given a lot of information.
Yeah, yeah. The gift, that was how we ended. You know, there's a gift.
Yes, lovely.
There's that saying, a Zen saying, whenever life presents a challenge, there's a gift in the palm of its hand.